Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Widener Show, powered by SoundCloud Studios. Visit online at soundcloudstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, SoundCloud Studios is the answer. SoundCloud Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition web. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@soundcloudstudios.com. Mention the Mike Widener Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Widener Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in four countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even love and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Widener Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books. Remembering is the key ingredient. And how beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so yours. And who doesn't miss grandma's meatballs, huh? Well, the holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift for remembrance that makes you laugh and cry at the same time? Whatever gift for grandma's recipes or just because, those smiles and tears will just melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw, Picture This Photo Books at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethisphotobooks.com. Mention the Mike Widener Show, get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books. Bring your memories back to life. They're whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you. Also, check out the Mike Widener Show at themikewidenershow.com and on 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, Apple Music, iTunes, Google Play, and more. Don't forget to take the Mike Widener Show at the on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Widener Show on the YouTube channel. Follow the Mike Widener Show on Instagram and Twitter today, and check out the Mike Widener Show merchandise at themikewidenershow.com or on Amazon.com at the Mike Widener Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, makes great gifts 24/7. And don't forget to check out the Mia Molson-Zia store on Amazon as well, too, for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also, great merchandise like T-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check out the store today. And don't forget to donate to the Mike Widener Show at themikewidenershow.com. Also on Anchor FM/support and PayPal, and make sure you do so today. We're here with a terrific lady who's the founder of Gedeon Enterprises. She's an executive coach and leadership development consultant and certified in life and leadership coaching, and climbing a corporate ladder to becoming a corporate dropout to start her own business. She knows a thing or two about the big leaps and navigating major life changes, looking within to find strength, wisdom, and the courage necessary to preserve while in uncharted territory. After 15 years in corporate and also 15 years and building her own amazing business. And she's also got a book called Transform: The Journey to Becoming, and also a podcast, and offers coaching as well, too. So if you're looking for a big change, talk to this wonderful lady here. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Los Angeles, the founder of Gedeon Enterprises and the author of the book, Transform: The Journey to Becoming, and more. Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Sabine Gedeon. Sabine, good morning, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh my goodness. Good afternoon, Mike. Thank you for that amazing introduction. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, it's great to have you on board, too. And I looked at your profile and I said, this lady is so amazing. I mean, you've been in the corporate world for 15 years and you decided to go ahead and start your own business. It's been going great for 15 years. Founder of Gedeon Enterprises, executive coach, leadership development consultant, and certified in life and leadership coaching. And you also have a book called Transform: The Journey to Becoming. And also, you also offering becoming a coach as well, too. And we'll talk about that. And you're also the founder of the She Leads Network. And before getting to all that, Sabine, tell us how I first got started.
Yeah, and so I just want to make one slight correction because I wish I was that seasoned in business, but I've only been in business technically 5 years, but the 15 years in corporate is correct. So a little bit about me, I started traditional pathway in corporate America, was determined to climb the ranks and to, get to that executive HR level. I got dared officially or unofficially by a manager when I first started my career, and, basically did all the things that we're taught, work hard, take on those development opportunities. I call them DOTS, development opportunities that suck. Take on the projects.
That's unique. I like that. That suck. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. I can't take ownership for that acronym. That's actually one of my former managers gave me that, but that's how
blame it on him. Okay, blame it on him. I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's how we described, those projects that no one wanted to do, but that it would lead to some visibility or lead to some recognition. So did all the things that they told you to do, and got to the place where this coveted role that I wanted. Finally got it. It was a 12-year journey. Required me to go back to school, switch careers, or not switch careers, but switch companies and everything. Finally got it, and less than 6 months, I realized that this was not what I wanted. And so I had somewhat of a premature midlife crisis in that moment, just because my career had become so much of my identity and so much of my life. So to get to this point, and I didn't have a plan B because we were riding this plan A all the way to retirement. And so it challenged me to really take a step and look inside to identify, what do I really want to do? Throughout the course of my career and my life, where have I made the biggest impact and felt the most fulfilled? And that's when I was able to trace back to coaching, when I didn't even realize that that's what I was doing. And at the time, coaching was big, but nowhere near as what it is now, especially in organizations. And so I made the leap. I made the leap. And so since then, I have been coaching individuals, and I have been supporting organizations on the individual side, mostly coaching women who are leaders, who are looking to transition, pivot from what they've been doing. And then on the organizational side, working with startups and smaller businesses that, have leaders in place, but can use a little bit more development, so that as the organization grows, that they are equipped to not only just do the work, but to build up and train and equip the next generation of leaders that they would be mentoring and managing.
That's rather interesting. And what was that one precise moment that simply influenced you into what you're doing for the rest of your career? So what triggered that decision that simply said, I'm getting out? So what was that one precise moment for you?
Yeah. I woke up one day, and at the time I was I was working in Houston. I had been relocated to Houston. I think it was a combination of things, but I had been relocated to Houston, got to this place, and I was just in this, it was an office, but it was also like a warehouse. And I was sitting in this cubicle, and I was just, you just have those moments where you look around and you're kind of like, what am I doing with my life? Like I left my comfort, I left my safety, I left everything to move here. And it's just like, I felt like I was not making an impact. And so it was in that moment, as I was sitting there in the cubicle, where I was just like, this can't be it. And I have 30 something years left to work. Like, this cannot be it for me.
Almost sounds like a cog in a machine. That's been the problem these days, just being a cog in a machine.
Yeah. Yeah, for the most part. I was explaining to someone earlier, it was just like, I saw this role as a role that was, impactful, where you got to make decisions, you got to influence, how leaders, made decisions about the organization, about people. And so when I stepped into it, and I felt like, okay, well, I'm more worried about the politics or the bureaucracy and all of these things that have nothing to do with people and impact and, this change that I thought I was going to be able to make, it definitely brought to home that this isn't what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. And if you look back, if anything, what would you change?
Ooh. I would have made the decision to make the leap sooner. And reason being, back in 2011, so this was 2016. So back in 2011, I had stumbled on a book by Laurel, I think it's Laurel Langmeyer. It was called The Millionaire Maker, and it was a book that she wrote, and it had all these stories about people who took their skills, their everyday skills in their job, and they started these businesses. And at the time, I was working at an okay company, but I had a manager who was a bully and a micromanager.
Oh my gosh.
Someone coined the term, she was emotionally traumatizing. That's who I was working for. And I remember, reading this book like, oh my gosh, I can use my skills. And so I started putting myself out there as a resume writer and writing resumes for people. Unfortunately, when you promote to friends and family, they don't want to pay you, or at most they'll be willing to pay $50 for, 3-4 hours of your work. I quickly realized that I can't make a living out of this. So if I could change anything, it would have been me really sticking with it in terms of building the business, gaining that experience, moving away from friends and family and finding real customers that were willing to pay, and really driving that, because that was what, I won't say 4 years lost, but that would have been 4 additional years that I could have been building my business.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you also have a successful business as well too. And what's your definition of success, and how do you know when you've achieved it?
Yeah, it's a really great question. I keep getting asked that question. I think the definition for success changes per person, right? I think that's one of those intimate things that only you know what that means for yourself. For me personally, being driven by purpose is extremely huge for me. And so success for me is operating and functioning in my purpose. Now that of course across, the course of my career, it's morphed into different things, and I've been able to express my purpose, who I am, what I bring to the table, my unique brilliance, if you will, that I bring to roles. In different capacities, whether that was in HR, whether that was as a coach, an author, or a speaker. And so, if I could trace back to, or if I could answer the question of whether or not I'm successful, now today I feel like I am successful. Now today I'm doing the thing that I love. And for me, that's really helping people solve problems, helping people, and specifically helping them solve problems, helping them see themselves in their capacity in such a greater way than they normally would. And so yes, I'm successful, and let me also add this caveat. For a very long time I equated success with material things, right? Like the physical manifestation, or the proving that I was successful would be in things, cars, money, all these pieces. And I'm not saying that those aren't important, but for me, I've also realized that even with those things, if I'm not doing, and I've had moments where I've pivoted or veered away from this, and yeah, I made money, and yeah, I had all the things, but something in me didn't feel complete. So success for me at the core, the grounded, is I am expressing my gifts, I am expressing my unique brilliance, and I'm helping to change the lives of others.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned purpose a lot too, and that's become such a buzzword these days. What's your definition of purpose, and how's that definition shaped your life?
Yeah, really great question. So, going back to the purpose for me specifically, goes back to about 2007, where I hit rock bottom personally, and I was at the place of deep depression and suicidal, and after planning my exit, if you will, and being in that space where I was done with staying here, I had a conversation with God the night before, and in that moment, there was a lot that I said, but two things most important that I asked were, what is my purpose? Or one, to show me that He was real, and to show me my purpose. And so that's really the catalyst, and that's really the moment where purpose became something that was more than just a word or a term. I needed to understand what my purpose was to live. Like, I literally needed that. And after the encounter that I had with God, I woke up the next day on this quest to find purpose. Now, at one point, especially earlier on, I believed that, like, oh, I was going to get this idea, I was going to move or find a job or find a career, and that would be purpose. I quickly learned that purpose is not this one-time event. It's not this stagnant thing, and it's not limited to a particular role or a particular function that we may play, that it is truly rooted in the essence of who we are. The very thing that we were created to do, that is purpose. And so for me, and I always use the analogy, or sometimes I'll use the analogy around like the apple seed, right? So you hold an apple seed in your hand, and it's just an apple seed. But in reality, we know that this apple seed is really an entire tree. And in some cases, maybe not a forest, but it's a whole tree. But what we're seeing, right, in our hands as we're holding it is just the apple seed. So for me, being rooted into the place that I need to be rooted, which is whether it's in corporate America or my business or whoever it is that I'm supporting, allows me to show up and to stand in that fullness of the tree, right? That I've been purposed to be. Hope that makes sense.
It does make a lot of sense too. And of course, you've been in this for a long time. And when your mission is pretty much over, what kind of legacy do you hope to leave behind?
Oh, that's a really great question. So again, legacy is another deeply personal thing that I think we all have to define for ourselves. But as I share in my book, I experienced a lot of childhood trauma, sexual abuse, and as I was writing the book, it just became clearer and clearer that it didn't start with me. Right, this was something that was taking place generations before I got here. And so for a very long time, my focus has been whatever has taken place in the generations before me, it stops with me. I am the line breaker. So whether it's, sexual abuse, whether it's trauma, poverty, I'm an immigrant from Haiti. And so we know that that's a third world country. So many of these things that I came into the world with, that I've decided, okay, that stops with me. And so that my children and my children's children and the generations after me will never, ever face what me and the generations before me faced. So that's on the personal side. The more professional side, or more the outwardly impactful side, is that I can leave this world knowing that everyone who has come in contact with me, I have left them better than when they started. And so for me, I don't know how you call it, but I usually say, I'm the type of person to awaken that greatness within others. And so my goal, my focus is to be able to interact with people, to coach people, to consult in organizations where, I am helping people to shift the way that they see themselves, so that they can see themselves as greater, that they can see themselves as purposeful, so that when my last day comes, I can look back on my life, not have any regrets, and know that, not only did I just make an impact for the generations for my personal bloodline, but in generations of leaders and generations of individuals that'll come after me.
Mm-hmm. And that's fantastic too. We'll talk about your coaching as well as personal development, leadership development. We'll talk about your book in just 1 minute. You listen to the Mike Widener Show at the MikeWidenerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Widener Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Widener Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Girls Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Widener Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books. Remembering is the key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at a wedding, and even more so at yours. Who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs, huh? Well, the holidays are coming. What better time gift of remembrance? It makes you laugh and cry at the same time. Whatever gift for Grandma's recipes, or just because those smiles and tears will just melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw, Picture This Photo Books, at 646-798-0809, or visit picturethisphotoBooks.com. Mention the Mike Widener Show, get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books. Bring your memories back to life. They're whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you. Also, check out the Mike Widener Show on over 30 podcast platforms and the MikeWidenerShow.com. Take us with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Widener Show on the YouTube channel. Follow The Mike Widener Show on Instagram and Twitter today, and check out the great merchandise at themikewidenershow.com and also on amazon.com at the Mike Widener Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to the Me and Molson Zio store on Amazon for great books and great merchandise like this one here. Check it out today. And don't forget to support the Mike Widener Show on Anchor FM and PayPal, and also the MikeWidenerShow.com. Make sure you do so today. We're here with a terrific lady who's a founder of Gedeon Enterprises, executive coach, and leadership consultant as well too, and she also has a book called Transform: The Journey to Becoming. And before we talk about the book, you also talked about becoming a coach as well too, and you specialize in a good deal like personal development, leadership development, and also a lot more as well too. And tell us about what you can do, and how'd you come to the decision to becoming a coach? Okay, Sabine, you still with us?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah. You offer personal development and leadership development, and tell us more about that, and just a bit about coaching.
Yeah. So once I, got over my devastation around my corporate career track, and as I, mentioned, had to do some soul searching of when I, what fulfilled me in terms of my career, stepped out into coaching. And initially I started with career coaching. And what I found was that I was drawing leaders, individuals who were transitioning from, one career to the other. So it wasn't the accountant from in one firm going to another firm. It was more of the accountant saying, I've always wanted to teach, or I've always wanted to do something else. And then so as I started working with these individuals, I realized that less and less, I was spending less and less time with like the tactical stuff around your LinkedIn profile or, your resume. And it was really around their mindset. It was really around uncovering, one, what it was about this particular path that was drawing them. And then two, helping them to embody who they were becoming. So, letting go of the fears, letting go of any insecurities, letting go of whatever programming they were coming to the table with, so that they could fully see themselves as whatever that next level was. It also gave me insight into, leaders and how they think and how they are. When you think about it in the corporate environment, most leaders are expected to have all the answers. They're expected to be the go-to people and to figure it out. And for that reason, they're often the most underdeveloped. Well, they're still human. They still have fears. They still have insecurities. They still have challenges. So being able to help them work through this, it made me realize that, wow, these are people who are coming to me as clients. But if I thought back, I've had managers who were bullies. I had that emotionally traumatizing manager. I've had managers who were, conflict avoidant and so on and so forth. And so I realized that there was an opportunity to help leaders deal with their own crap, for lack of a better term, create that safe space where they could put the title aside, they could put the ego aside, they could put all of that aside and be human and be vulnerable, face their fears, gain the courage that they needed, so that one, they could step into the new places or the new versions of themselves that they were coming. And so whoever they were working with or influencing, that they would replicate that behavior, they would replicate that version of themselves, and not the bully and not the antagonist and not the, passive aggressive person that maybe they had showed up as in a previous environment. So I work with them really a lot today. The leaders that I work with, whether they're emerging leaders in an organization or people who are coming through one-on-one, we do a lot of mindset work. It's really about shifting that identity. And I just want to add a piece here. I talk about leadership development, and I said this ad nauseum at this point. It's not about a skill. Yes, we teach skills, business acumen, executive presence, all of those things. Those are important. but at the core, we are human. And in our humanness or humanity, we all have leadership ability. In any given time, we are leading. Title, regardless of role, we're leading at home, we're leading in our businesses, we're leading in our community, we're leading in some capacity. And so bringing that awareness or awakening people to that awareness is first and foremost in terms of the role, the work that I do, getting them to get clear on their values, because I do believe that, your values serve as your anchor and also as your North Star. So if you as a leader don't know what's important to you, don't know where you're headed, how are you leading others, right? So first and foremost, we're starting with you. And then thirdly, once you're clear, right, that you are a leader, you're clear on what that means to you, it helps you make decisions that, are anchored in those values so that you don't step outside of, things that are outside of your value. You don't work with people or you don't show up a certain way that isn't aligned with your values. And then lastly, the accountability piece. I think we've seen many reasons or many examples in these last several years of lack of accountability at the leadership level. And so really, if we take a step back and we're like, oh, I'm not a leader, we're almost kind of giving away our power in the sense of expecting someone else to figure things out for us. But if we can stand in the ownership and the identity that I am a leader, that comes with responsibility, that comes with accountability. And that requires us to show up differently in the spheres of influence that we've been assigned. So it's really about empowering and equipping, but also holding leaders accountable to be accountable to themselves and those who they've been assigned to lead or influence.
And do you think becoming a leader has become more difficult as time went on, especially during the pandemic when people are working at home, or are they being given more tools to become a leader as well? Or is it where it's like, where leaderships have become so specialized where it's becoming difficult to be finding certain leaders?
Yeah, I think if anything, the pandemic exposed the weakness of leaders. Again, because traditional theory or philosophy is around, executive presence and having business acumen and knowing how to run the numbers. And it was all of these external things, right? And during the pandemic, with complete chaos, disruption, fear, all of that, it exposed what was inside, right? So you could no longer hide behind, the corporate hard stuff, right? Like you were a human being and you had to be there to support other human beings in that moment. So I think with the pandemic, it kind of exposed who was playing the role and who was actually already that, because we have countless of examples of that. But also I do think that showing up as a leader has gotten hard, not because, well, the external factors definitely play a role into it, but employees are looking for vulnerability. Employees are looking for relatability. Employees now, especially millennials, younger millennials and Generation Z, like they're not interested in your title and your role in your big, office in the corner, right? They want to know that you are a human being. They want to know that you see them as a human being and that you're able to show up as your whole self, so that they can have that permission to show up as their whole self again as well. So I think the harder part of leadership now is that you can't hide behind the title. You can't hide behind, the business, the numbers and all that other stuff. You have to show up as a human. You have to be empathetic. You have to be compassionate. You have to demonstrate all of these more internal, softer skills, if you will, to continue to motivate and inspire your team and to get your business to continue to grow. And customers are looking for that. Society is looking for that now as well.
Mm-hmm. And what change and what style of leadership do you see in about 5 to 10 years from now?
Oh, great question. There's my ideal, right? If
you
I
can
get
talk
to
about a deal,
influence,
that's fine.
yeah, there's my ideal, and then there's a reality, because what we do see is a deterioration of leadership, right? At all levels of our society. So we see that. But at the same time, the idealist in me hopes that, this next generation, right? And I keep calling them emerging leaders. It's not limited by age, but that this next generation of leaders are going to step up, and they're going to be all the things that I just said. They're going to be human first. They're humanizing leadership. They're showing empathetic. They're showing up empathetic. They're showing up vulnerable. I forget what company it is. I see it all the time on LinkedIn, and I think I just got tired of seeing it, so I stopped looking at it. But that one CEO who gave up his salary and had everyone at a starting salary of $70,000, right? They keep showing that. I forget which company.
I think I read that story. Was that up in the Pacific Northwest or something? It's like I'm trying to remember. It's like a lot of it's happened in the Pacific Northwest. I did read about it. He gave up the majority of his salary so everybody can get paid 75,000, and he can get lower. And I think it's in the Pacific Northwest, and I can't remember what it is. Is a
Yeah.
computer firm or oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
I'm drawing a blank right now.
Yeah, me too. But it's examples like that, right? And this is what he did. And at first he was ridiculed and there are critics and everything else. And now his business is booming. Why? Because he showed up for his employees, right? That level of commitment, that level of sacrifice, from a leadership perspective, I can only imagine what that culture is like. It's probably not perfect. I'm not going to highlight it to be perfect, but the loyalty that he generated from employees in doing that, the respect, think about that, to lay aside, right, your salary and really step up as a servant leader in that space when your employees were hurting the most. That sits with someone more so than any, bottom line initiative or anything like that could ever sit. So 5-10 years from now, where I'd ideally like to see leadership is more leaders stepping up in that capacity, where it's not about their pockets, it's not about their title, it's not about their wealth, but it's about them understanding that together we work. And if I don't have employees, I don't have customers, I don't have a business.
And of course, speaking of business as well, too, and what's your projection on small business from now into the future as well, too, especially when you start deciding upon management leadership?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing record numbers of small businesses starting in the last year or so, partly because a lot of people got laid off. The time that they got from the pandemic gave them an opportunity to really take a step back, kind of do what I did 5 years ago, and realign with something greater, and not letting work be the primary driver in their lives. We see women at huge numbers, leaving or starting businesses so that they can leave, leveraging their skills, leveraging their ability. So, I see small business continuing to boom, because if you think about starting an online business, the barrier of entry is pretty low. And even for those who had established businesses, brick and mortars, a lot of them had to shut down, unfortunately, due to the pandemic. So what have they done? They've started these online businesses, and they are growing. Traditional organizations, like big organizations like grocery stores, right? They've shifted. They're doing delivery now. They're doing all these things. So I see there being more opportunities for smaller businesses, and big enterprise is not going anywhere. Let's be real. But I do see that the playing field, if you will, is being leveled just a little.
And give credit to Jeff Bezos and those that start in their garages and basements. So give them credits for that. So
Yes.
So we encourage everybody, start your business in a garage. So take it from them. And how do people get a hold of you if they need some coaching or advice?
Yeah, great question. And thank you for that, Mike. So you can catch me or connect with me on SabineGedeon.com. That is my website. It's my first name, Sabine, last name Gedeon.com. I also play a lot on LinkedIn and Instagram. So if, please be sure to connect, follow me. I follow back. Let me know that you heard me on the Mike Widener Show, and I will be more than happy to connect with you, and certainly always open to questions or providing, guidance to the extent that I can.
And of course, speaking of guidance as well, too, she's also got a great book called Transform the Journey to Becoming. She's talked about that. We'll talk about that in just 1 minute. Listen to the Mike Widener Show at the MikeWidenerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Widener Show, international warring author Mia Molson Zia Missing, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Also brought to you by Picture This Photo Books. Remembering is a key ingredient. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethisphotobooks.com. We'll be back with the founder of Gedeon Enterprises, Sabine Gedeon, and her book, Transform the Journey to Becoming, after this time out. We're back with author Sabine Gedeon and the founder of Gedeon Enterprises with Transform the Journey to Becoming in the Mike Widener Show. And you gave us some great advice out there. And also, let's talk about the book that you also got. And you've got a great book as well. You talk about transformation and talk about the book, Transform the Journey to Becoming. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, thank you. So Transformed is pretty much, I don't know, call it memoir slash self-development book, where I share, my transformations, my personal transformations, leveraging the metaphor of the caterpillar transforming into a butterfly and the phases that the caterpillar has to go through. And so using those phases, I talk about, my experiences, my personal experiences when I was in those particular phases to get to this point where, I could soar. And so my, as I shared before, what was a catalyst of me becoming who I am today was hitting rock bottom and being at that point of suicide. But it really didn't start there. I didn't just wake up at that place. There were years of trauma and abuse that led to that. And so it was my uncovering, if you will, of all of those pieces that led to that magical day, that then, began my transformation process, that then began me going into my chrysalis, so that I could be completely dismantled and destroyed, and evolve into who I am today.
And that's an amazing story too of transformation. And what was that one precise moment that simply inspired you to write the book? So what was that one moment that simply said, I'm gonna write a book about this?
Yeah. So I actually started writing a book, but it had nothing to do with this. The book that I started writing was around the leap from being in corporate to entrepreneurship. I had learned so much about me. There was so much mindset and unwiring work that I had to do, that I wanted to provide a resource for people who were thinking about leaving corporate to start their business, so that they knew that all these messages around like, oh, make 6 figures in like 2 days, right? Like that
that's social media for you. If it's true, it is on the internet.
Yes, there were so many messages around that. And I found that like in my darkest moments, like it was all of this stuff that I had to work through. And I wanted to give people the real, true, honest view of what it really means to start a business and what it means to shift from one identity into the other, especially entrepreneurship. So got through, did my outline, did the first introduction, and then I heard Holy Spirit say, you need to write the other book. And I was like, I don't really have another book. I don't understand what I'm being called to here. And it was just like, no, you need to tell your story. And so right around that time, I do a quarterly fast, where, it's my way of like cleansing spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. And so I had decided to do a fast, and I literally wrote the first full draft of the book in 10 days.
Wow.
During that. Yeah, not normal. Probably couldn't do it again, but but that's what happened. I mean, it was divinely inspired. And so, as I started to write the book, again, I wanted to go very, I want to say fluffy, right? Like inspirational.
Right.
But then I was challenged each day almost to go deep into my story. And I share a lot. I pretty much, bare my soul in that entire book. And, part of the reason why I even got to the place where I was just like, okay, now I'll hit this publish button is because, I had come to realize that while my story, my beginning, my origin story, if you will, was traumatic, traumatic and all these other things, that like the outcome, the person that I was becoming or the person that I had become was night and day from my start. And so I wanted to release the book to give hope to those who may be in their valley seasons, or who may be in that dark place that I once was, that, that's just a moment in time. And that if I could climb out of the deep ditch that I was in, that you too can do the same.
And how's this tie into starting a business, entrepreneurship, and everything else you talk about in your book? Some of the pitfalls and the realities of entrepreneurship and business, and maybe tie it in with your current book as well, too. Like just an example or two.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I wrote the book without thinking about how I was going to use it as a marketing tool for the business. It was more of I guess, a passion project, and I just felt led to do it. But some things that I could take out of it as it relates to, leadership, or even just entrepreneurship, right? In many instances, let me take a step back. So the caterpillar, when it's in its state, right? It's just eating. It's on the ground. It's eating. It knows no better. Something within it is triggered at some point and says, you need to go into this unfamiliar place, right? You need to go into isolation, and it willingly goes there. And so oftentimes, as we are growing as individuals, or we're evolving into the next version of ourselves, it requires isolation. It requires us stepping away from what is familiar, what is routine, for us to be able to grow. And it also requires us to let go, or let some things about us die. And so, part of transitioning, or transitioning, transforming, whatever you want to call it, into something new, is having to let go of the old versions of yourself, the old things you used to do, old mindsets, so that you could fully become and embody this new person. The other thing that I would say is that, it takes a lot of courage to, willingly change, or to decide to change your life, or to step into entrepreneurship, to leave corporate, to step into entrepreneurship, or to pivot your business. And so I remember before I left corporate, my prayer every day was, God, give me courage to do this. Like, I need courage. And, oftentimes we think that if we're stepping into something new and we're a little fearful, or doubtful, or can't see all of the things, that's a sign for us to stop, or it's a sign for us to, move away and not do anything. And I would challenge you to look at fear as, not a bad thing, but a signal that, yes, I am moving in the right direction. And that, leveraging the courage, I call it your well of courage, tapping into your well of courage so that you can move forward. The fear is always going to show up. Whenever we go into something new, whenever we try something different, fear is going to show up, but it's not showing up to stop us. It's just showing up to say, hey, we're in new uncharted territory here. And so that's when you tap into your courage to say, yes, I'm afraid. No, I don't know the answers. No, I don't know the outcome, but I'm going to take this leap. I'm going to courageously take this leap and have faith that there is going to be a soft landing. So if I could tie the two, it's really around, standing in your space of courage, doing things that are uncomfortable, doing things that are unfamiliar, so that you can learn and grow. And then as a leader, being willing to, evolve and letting go of things that no longer serve you or no longer represent you.
And that's a very good point. I really like that. And where can we find your book, Transform the Journey to Becoming?
Yep. You can find it on Amazon. You can search by the title, or you can search by my name, Sabine Gedeon. You can also find it on my website. The link takes you to Amazon as well.
That sounds amazing as well, too. We're with the founder of Gedeon Enterprises, Sabine Gedeon, here, the Mike Widener Show. Just a few more minutes. You've been absolutely great. And what else can we expect from you in 2021 and beyond, Sabine?
Yes, thank you. Great question. So I am in the process of launching, at the time of this recording, She Leads Network. And so She Leads Network is a premium networking and coaching community for career and entrepreneurial women. So it's really a space for ambitious women who, want to continue to grow, want to continue to excel, whether it's in their career or, their businesses. It's a safe space, if you will, a community, but it's also a place where you're challenged and you're held accountable. So it takes all of the, pieces of a typical networking group where you build the camaraderie, you have the sisterhood, but it also incorporates coaching where you get the training, you get the development, and you get the accountability to ensure that you're able to achieve your goals and you're able to step into that next version of yourself with support and with your own built-in cheerleaders.
Oh, that's fantastic. So looking forward to it. You got a lot of great ideas here, Sabine. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Ooh, in my career. Okay, so this is going to sound real strange, but it's so funny that you asked this because I stumbled upon a video. Michael Jackson. The late, great Michael Jackson, for so many reasons, outside of his talent, and outside of his philanthropy and just who he was naturally, he embodied. If I could say, if there's anyone that I could say truly embodied their art, he embodied it. Like everything about him, his essence, right? The way that he showed up, his work ethic, everything. And so as I look at, if when I leave, right, the legacy that I want to leave, if you think about it, and not to go on a tangent, but I was just watching one of his videos, and you remember back in the day, he used to do a concert and people would just start passing out. Like he just get on stage and people would start, like, to have that level of impact on people. Not that I want people passing out for me.
Please don't. No, don't pass out, please.
Don't pass out, but to have that level of impact, and to just your sheer essence and your sheer presence to touch people at such a deep core level, I want to be able to do that in my sphere of influence, of course.
Mm-hmm. And that's very amazing too. I like that. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Yeah. So two things. Reminder, you're a leader. Title or not, role or not, you are a leader. And with that comes responsibility. With that comes accountability. With that also comes great grace to do great things. So don't let your title, don't let your role, don't let whatever position you're in hinder you from taking on that identity of a leader and really moving towards whatever greatness is inside of you. Secondly, if you are in a place where you are in your pit, you are in your deep ditch, please know that it's not the end of the story. That every day that you get to wake up, that you get to start a brand new day, is an opportunity for you to climb 1 or 2 or 3 inches further so that you can get to the place where you are back on your mountaintop.
And that's very amazing as well, too. Great advice as well, too. Once again, with Sabine Gedeon, founder of Gedeon Enterprises, and also the new book, Transform the Journey to Becoming on the Mike Widener Show, and also coaching services. Please go to her if you need some advice. Sabine, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot from you. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your book or come to you for any services?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mike. You've been such a wonderful host. This has been awesome. So you can connect with me on my main website, SabineGedeon.com. So first name, last name.com. If you're interested, if you are a ambitious woman who is career or entrepreneurial at any stage, check out She Leads, SHELEADS network.com. Registration is actually open. I just haven't announced it completely public yet, but you can check out the network, check out the membership. You can catch the book on Amazon, Transformed, The Journey to Becoming. And of course, connect with me on social, LinkedIn and Instagram. I'd love to get to know you a little bit more, and certainly let me know that you heard me on the Mike Widener Show.
We certainly will do so, and we will spread the word. Once again, Sabine, a very big thank you for your time. Absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch, and looking forward to having you on. And you've been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you so much, Mike.